Hi everybody, in this video we're going to be making Hong Kong egg waffles. They're basically egg-shaped waffles. There are already lots of videos out there that show you how to make it, but I wanted to share with you the ones that I made. I've been told it tastes very crunchy and the texture is good. This recipe that you see in front of you is actually I borrowed it from a website called KirbyCravings.com, Kirbie cravings.com, and credit should be given when credit is deserved. I just tweaked it a little bit just to make it less sweet, but essentially it's the same. But I think the process of making it and putting it into the waffle iron, I think was the trick that actually made it work. Um, Basically, the ingredients to make it is 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a tablespoon of tapioca starch, 1 tablespoon of bird's custard powder, 2 large eggs, half a cup of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of evaporated milk, 150 mLs of water, 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So for the all-purpose flour, I'm using the gold medal all-purpose flour. For the baking powder, I am actually using Clabber Girl baking powder. For the tapioca starch, I am using this brand. It's called Buddha brand tapioca starch. And then for the custard powder, I actually am using Bird's original custard powder. I think this is one of the secret ingredients that actually makes it taste really good. Large eggs, I think that everybody knows what large eggs are. Half a cup of sugar, so I am actually using C&H granulated sugar. Evaporated milk, I'm actually using Carnation evaporated milk, and this is the non-sweetened kind. It's just evaporated milk. It's just, I guess, condensed. And then vegetable oil. You can use any vegetable oil, but I am actually using Mazola vegetable oil. And for the vanilla extract, I am using McCormick's pure vanilla extract. Okay, so I've added all the ingredients here into this mixing bowl. This is the water that we're going to add to here. Other videos have said, mix the wet ingredients first and whisk it first before you add the dry ingredient. But for me, it didn't matter. I just added everything. I did it both ways and it didn't really make a difference. And what I'm using is this Cuisinart little mixer. And it actually really comes in handy because if you're going to do it all by hand, it's going to be very rough and very, very tough on your arm later. So I'm going to be mixing all the ingredients, and the important thing is just to make sure we have no clumps in the final batter. And I'm going to make sure that there are no clumps anywhere. Just do your best that you can to make sure there's no clumps at all. Okay, this is the final battered product, whisked, and there are no clumps in there at all. Has this yellow eggy kind of color to it. And the trick to making these egg waffles, I think, is also in this little squeeze bottle, which we'll be pouring the batter into this bottle, and we'll be squeezing it into this little egg pockets so that the batter is concentrated into those small crevices to make the egg waffles. This is the waffle iron that I'll be using. It is actually made by Nordic Ware. It's shaped with little egg pockets for you to put your batter in. And I got it off of Amazon for about $50. There are more fancier ones that's all connected with temperature settings and everything that you can buy on eBay, or ALD Kitchen is the other brand. It ranges from $60 all the way up to $200, but I found this one to be able to make the egg waffles just as good by using this stovetop stove. Now the stove that I'm using is a fairly typical stove, but I believe My burners, this is a medium-sized burner. We have also a smaller size burner. So depending on what size burners you use, medium, small, or even a large one, the setting of the stove may be different. For me, because I'm using this medium-sized burner, I actually will be using probably, I would say, the fourth dot, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if your burners are smaller, you probably actually even want to use up to 6 dots. So the sixth setting. So I would say in a range between low to medium heat in order to make the waffles. So I put some vegetable oil into a small bowl with a little piece of napkin, and I'm going to coat each one of these pockets with some vegetable oil to prevent any batter from sticking to this. So I'm going to do it for both sides. Should be pretty quick. You don't need to have a whole lot of oil, just a little bit is enough. It's just a coating, just to coat the pan, the waffle iron, with just a little bit of oil for each of these pockets. And the trick to using this particular waffle iron is to preheat at the fourth setting for mine. Yours could be higher, but to preheat for 2 minutes. And once it's ready in 2 minutes, you're ready to put the batter into each of these little pockets to start cooking. So as you can see, the fire is barely touching the waffle iron, but that is enough heat. And again, I set the stove to be at dial number 4, sort of somewhere between medium to low heat. And we're doing this for about 2 minutes to get it to preheat the waffle iron. And this is very important. If you don't preheat it, it's not going to come out the way you want. So it's been 2 minutes. I'm going to add batter to each of these pockets. And I'm not going to do it to the edges, because what happens is once you close it, if you add batter to the edges of the pockets, it'll leak over into the side and cause a whole mess everywhere. So after the batter is done, go ahead and close this lid. And you got to turn it over right away. So I've already turned it over, and I'm actually putting my hand on the handles, because what happens is the batter is cooking and it's expanding, and this handle will actually try to separate. So I'm just going to keep my hand holding on to it just to make sure that the pan doesn't spread apart, so that the batter inside can mix evenly onto the other side. Okay, it's been 2 minutes, and then we're going to flip it over for one last time, and this is the opposite side now. So we're going to cook it again for another 2 minutes, and after the 2 minutes is done, we'll have the final product for you to see. Okay, it's been 2 minutes and we're actually done. I'm going to turn off the stove and let you see what it looks like. So there is your egg waffles, a little bit on the brown side up here, but it's actually still should taste really good. And if you did it correctly, and if you cook it correctly, if it's not fully cooked, it's not going to fall off this waffle iron, and you're going to have a hard time taking it off. And so the trick is, if you don't cook it well, if you don't cook it right, it's not going to come off really easy like this. It'll be sticking everywhere, and it's going to be a total disaster. But this is what it looks like, and it's actually really crunchy. A little bit of burnt, so we're going to probably watch out and say, maybe take off 5 seconds, 10 seconds to not make it that, this is not really burnt, it's just a little bit overcooked. Okay, now that we made the first waffle, we're going to add the oil back like we did the first time. And I'm going to tell you something very important that I think is something that to make it all successful, is that because we've already heated up these waffle irons, they're actually really hot already. So the first one that we did, we needed to preheat the waffle iron for about 2 minutes in order to get the heat to be at the point where we like it. Now, because it's already hot, we don't want to preheat anymore for 2 minutes. we only want to preheat for 30 seconds only. That's very important. If you do it more than 30 seconds, if you do it for 2 minutes again, your waffles will turn out really burnt. And so I'm going to heat this thing up for about, turn to dial number 4 again. And then dial number 4 again. And I'm going to do for 30 seconds. And now we're going to add our batter to these pockets. We're using the squeeze bottle. It's important to get a squeeze bottle. If not, you're just going to be pouring batter everywhere and it's very messy. So get a squeeze bottle just to make sure you have this, concentrated effort of getting the batter into the pockets. So this is second time, 30 seconds of warming up the waffle iron here. Turn it around and set the timer for 2 minutes. Okay, it's been 2 minutes and we're going to turn it over. And we're going to wait again for 2 minutes, so reset your timer for another 2 minutes. Okay, that's 2 minutes and we're done. And we're going to open this up and it looks much nicer this time around. So remember, only 30 seconds for the second time and subsequent times, but the initial one is 2 minutes of preheat. And so if you did it correctly, it's going to fall off very easily. Voila, Hong Kong egg waffles. Now, each recipe makes about 3 of these waffles, and so if you want to make 6, double it and you should be good. And you're going to repeat this process until you're done. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video.